Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about From Season 3. So, Season 3 just came out this year, around in October or so, and thank God it did, because I was able to watch it, after the season wrapped, because I did the Black Friday thing on MGM Plus, which is where you can watch it. Because I hate when it comes out earlier in the year and stuff. It should always come out around October or so, because this is one of those really mysterious, freaky type shows. There's always twists and turns and like just beyond craziness. And it reminds people of Lost because the executive producer of Lost made this show. So this is basically, in my opinion, like Lost 2.0. But I've never watched Lost, so, but I knew it was like really crazy and freaky and stuff. And this show is no exception. So the show has been renewed for a fourth season, which will be coming out, later next year. And, thank God people did not sleep on this show because it's a very fascinating show. Because honestly, who really watches anything on MGM unless you're like really old? You know what I'm saying? Because when you flip around or, on their app and everything, there's not a lot of like recent stuff on there. Like it's nothing but really, really old 1920s, 1930s, 40s, 50s type movies and stuff. Like it's it's one of them channels for like older people and stuff. Because currently, right now, MGM Plus only has four recent shows that are being renewed. And I think the Billy Kid one is gonna have its final season this year or next year or something like that. But yeah, they only gonna have about like four shows that are currently like on because all the other ones got canceled and stuff. And this show was originally on Epic. But then it went on over to MGM Plus and stuff. So I guess when it was on Epic, people watched it and fell in love with it. And so thank God, it never debuted on MGM Plus because, like I said before, man, people, I doubt anybody would have like known about it and stuff. But yeah, this show came out like in 2022 and everything. And it's one of those shows that is just thrilling and mysterious because it's about a group of people who live out in like I guess like the country in the woods type area and there's like houses and stuff and they can't leave. Like they are literally stuck there. There is some presence that keeps them there and they don't know what the world it is. Because it all starts with people randomly driving on the road. Don't matter what city or state you're from, but you always end up in this one spot where there's a tree in the middle of the road. There are like crows flying around. And once you see that tree in the road, you know you're headed to that town. And no matter how you keep trying to drive out of it, you just can't get out of it. And the town is just like mysterious and stuff. There are like no TVs. There's an old radio, and sometimes it plays music at a diner. I can't. I think they have electricity. I'm pretty sure they do. And it's like nothing but woods and caves and tunnels and there's all this weird stuff like bottles with notes with numbers and them hanging on trees and like it's just nothing. And so the people have to like get along with each other and they don't always do that. But then the worst thing ever is that there are monsters in this like town. They're like these demon looking people that only come out at night. And they come up to your doors trying to get in and try and talk to you and you can't let them in because they will literally rip you apart with just one hand because that's how strong they are. And so that's what really intrigued me about this show. It's like, ooh, what the heck is this? But then on top of that, there's all this freaky paranormal type stuff and supernatural stuff that goes on that affects the minds of the people that are there because it tries to like break down their willpower and everything. And it's just so fascinating. And one of the things I do love about this show is this diverse cast. This is one of the most diverse shows there is, and thank God it came out during a time when there was DEI and wokeness in Hollywood. Because, well, if this show was made 15, 20 years ago, it would have been all white. And now, because of how everything's changing, especially in Hollywood, I mean, heck, look what Walmart's doing now. Walmart said that they will no longer celebrate Black History Month, Pride, Women History Month, Hispanic History Month, because certain people protested. And you can probably guess who those certain people are of a certain race and everything. And so Walmart's now scared. And I'm telling you, Hollywood and everything else is going to start going back to the way it was. And it's going to be a shame because I do not want that to happen. But I just love like how diverse, like, you know, this cast is. They have like white people, black people. I have no idea what race Kenny is. I just know he's Asian. They have Colombian people, Iranian people, Hispanic people. Like they got so much like different types of people like on this show, LGBT and everything, you know. And that's how a show like this should be. It should be diverse because it's a bunch of random people coming together in this like town. And you know, and that's how it's like I said before, it's so Lost. Like the creators of Lost, you know, created this show. So it's basically like, hey, if our Lost show got canceled many years ago, we're just gonna create another one. And that's basically really all what this show is. It's Lost and everything. And so like with From, ending in season 2, so much stuff happened in this season, which this season feels more on part with that of season 1 than season 2 did. Because see, I've said this before when I reviewed this show back in the past. It's like basically with this show is whatever the writers think of, they just put in the show that's like mysterious and strange. And after a while, they're gonna run out of steam because of the simple fact that, you know, they're coming up with so much weird, freaky stuff that at some point they're gonna run out of ideas, or they're gonna go so freaky that some people are gonna be all like, that don't make no sense in the show that already doesn't make no sense. Nothing in this show makes sense, but now they're starting to bring in more elements that really just don't make no sense. And it's just going to be to the point where audience is going to be all like, okay, I'm tuning out because this is getting too weird and too strange. And you're not explaining that much. And when you do explain stuff, it's even more confusing than before. And that's how I've been feeling since season 2, because season 2 was just like crazy all over the place. It's basically whatever a writer thought about, bam, they put it right then and there on the show. And it's just kind of like, you know, there was like just so much bizarre stuff going on in season 2, the way it's just kind of like, it doesn't even feel the same like it did in season 1. Now you come to season 3, and season 3 feels very similar to that of season 1. There's still strange stuff and freaky stuff going on, but it's not so bizarre that it makes you feel like you're watching a different show. But however, they always end on a big cliffhanger that's very confusing, and it's kind of like, oh my God, what the heck is going to happen next? But it's like the cliffhangers, and then just like in this season 3, even though it's on par with that of season 1, they're still stretching the limits of their imagination to where it's just kind of like, okay, how is this gonna pay off next season? Like it's getting a little too confusing and clustered and everything. And even though those reveals are shocking, it's just like, you know, it's a bit of a stretch because the end of season 1, because this is the craziest thing, every cliffhanger at the end of the season gets resolved very quickly in the next season in the first 2 episodes. And it's almost like they don't want to linger on that, or there's no real in-game result and they can't think of nothing, because that's what's gonna happen. And whenever this show is gonna get canceled, which who knows, I hope it goes for at least 5 seasons, because how far can they really stretch that imagination, you know what I'm saying? But whenever this show ends and everything, the payoff needs to be huge. If the end result payoff of what all this freaky stuff is about, how all this stuff got created, and who are these mysterious people, if it does not pay off big, then it's going to be all for nothing. And people are going to remember the show for having a crappy ending. And I don't want that to happen. So these people better come up with something really good, because if not, it's gonna suck. Because at the end of season 1 cliffhanger, they created a satellite dish. They tried to contact somebody from the outside world, but instead they got a voice of a man telling them, "Hey, cut this crap out, or pay the consequences and everything. And you're digging too much, and you're gonna pay for that." And that's what happened at the end of season 1. Like, Jim's wife was stuck in the caves or the tunnels with Victor, and the monster people was coming. And something else happened. I think the house caved in on itself, and Jim was like somebody was trapped or something like that. I think the wife fell in like a giant hole into the ground or something like that. Then in season 2, the house collapsed on like Jim and everybody and stuff. And then they got him out. One person died, and then the wife was totally okay. And then they didn't hear the voice no more. And so that resolved very quickly. Then you get to the end of season 2, where season 3 picks up on. At the end of season 2, a bunch of the people in town got rescued from some kind of thing that was going on inside their head, where they felt like they was chained on a wall and they was screaming and this and that. And the result of all that is kind of not lingered on too much this season. But anyway, the biggest cliffhanger is that Tabitha got out of the town and back into the real world. Victor put her in one of the traveling trees, and then she went up like this staircase to like a tower, a watchtower type thing, or a light tower, or is it a lighthouse tower? That's what it's called. And so she's looking out the window, and the boy in white just appears and is all like, "I'm sorry," and pushed her through the window, and she fell. And then next thing you know, she ended up in a hospital in the real world, all banged up. And this gets resolved very quickly in like the first 3 episodes or so of like the 3rd season. And it's kind of one of those things that is where after I saw this last season, I was just kind of like, what is going to happen when she's in the real world? Who is she going to tell? Who is she going to get help from? Because I'm thinking in my head, who the heck is gonna believe this woman? A bunch of hikers found her in the woods, banged up. They took her to a hospital. Who is gonna believe she's in some imaginary town where they can't leave and monsters come out at night? And like, who's gonna, these magic talismans, these stones they put up near the door to keep the monsters out? Like, who is going to believe that? They're going to put her in the crazy house. And so I started thinking, she's not going to tell nobody. There's no way she can. And she didn't. Like, she escaped from the hospital, just walking around town. She called her mom, but wouldn't tell her mom where she's been. And, this is a time when you can start predicting what's going to happen in the show. And as the show kept progressing, I'm all like, you know what? I bet that's gonna happen, because what else kind of options they're gonna have? And a lot of people can start predicting what happens in the show, because it's starting to get kind of predictable now. There are some things that still take me by surprise that I did not predict. I'm like, whoa, didn't see that happening. But then other things did. And her wandering around town, not telling nobody, is one of those things I kind of predicted in my head because they just gonna lock her up in the crazy house. But then, surprisingly, when she looked in Victor's lunchbox, she found his home address. So she went on over to his place and found his dad of all people. It's been about 40 years or so, and he hasn't saw his children or his wife. And it takes a while, but then he starts to believe her. Well, of course, after pulling the gun on her and stuff, because it's kind of weird. He's kind of like, hey, look, lady, you're some strange lady I never met. You're dressed the way you are. You're all banged up, and you have my son's lunchbox, and I ain't seen him in 40 years, and you claim to know him and all this other stuff about my wife and my daughter and all this other stuff. So eventually he starts to believe her. And so as they're driving, because she wants to go to a park in town because he mentioned something, I think, that's similar to what she's been describing. So they're heading to the park, but then all of a sudden she sees this bracelet that she made for her husband. She believes she's still in that freaky town because it messes with your head. It makes you see hallucinations. But she's in the real world. So she's freaking out and they get hit by a car. They're in an ambulance and everything, and he's banged up really bad, unconscious, and then all of a sudden you see the tree in the road and she flips out. And I'm all like, oh, you got to be kidding me. It's only been about 2 or 3 episodes and already she's about to head back into the town and there's only 10 episodes. I'm all like, this was a waste of a cliffhanger in the finale. So the cliffhanger in season 3, I expect that to get wrapped up in 3 days as well. But that's such a bizarre, crazy cliffhanger that how are they going to resolve that? And so, bam, they're back in town, but it's nighttime. That's the problem. That's when the monsters come out. And so, things are already going crazy in town because they're out of food. And this is something that also pisses me off because last season there was this big thing about them running out of food and them keeping supplies and keeping them from the townspeople from eating them up that Donna was doing. And so this would have been a big thing going into season 3 because it's kind of there's no food. There's a bunch of restless people. There's about 50 people in town and a lot of them can't stand each other. People are going to start fighting over food and who knows, maybe a cannibal or two, you know what I'm saying? But then this gets resolved very quickly and it pisses me off because they're not lingering on things that need to be lingered on. The whole no food shortage thing, that could have lasted the entire season and brought a lot of juicy drama. Because Randall tried to steal one of the cows and he was going to skin it up and everything, but they wouldn't let him. And I think Victor even pulled a gun on him and everything. So people are still pissed at Randall and everything. And even Ethan tried to stand up to Randall when it came to that cow, because that's his favorite cow. And so then all of a sudden, the monster people decide, because they're evolving as it's happening. And so the monster people in season 2, okay, let me get into this whole monster thing first. The monster people keep evolving and changing over time. And it's getting on my nerves because nothing's staying consistent with them, especially their appearance. In season 1, their faces look completely different from that of season 2. One was practical effects and the other, I think, was CGI. Now, the monster faces have changed once again to where their hair falls off, they're bald-headed, and their faces are very CGI and very cheap looking. In fact, the monster people rarely show up this season. It's very monster light, and it's more on investigation type stuff and discovery. And that kind of bugs me because the monster thing is one of the funnest elements of the show. Now in season one, when they go up to the door and window, they'll talk to you, and it's almost like they put you in a trance. That's why you can't talk to them or look at them, because you're eager to open the window or open the door, because they put you in this kind of hypnotic trance that some people fell for in season one. After that, that hypnotic trance is no longer there. Then in season two, they talk to you a whole lot more, but it's like there's no trance, and they're starting to test you and everything. They half killed the person and hung them up on a tree by putting the metal like pipe through like their eye. There's no way to surgically go around that without killing the person, so they had to kill that person on the tree. And they're doing this because they're torturing people now, almost like they want to see your reaction or something. Now coming season three, they're still tormenting and torturing people, but they make you watch and everything. This season, the monsters are testing Boyd. So basically, he told them a long time ago, "You're not gonna break me," and he even killed one of their own, which really shocked and surprised them. This season, they're like, they ain't having this crap. They're all like, "We're gonna break you," and everything. And they really play around with him by leaving him alive to watch other people die and stuff. They killed Kenny's mom, and they made Boyd watch because they let the cows out. The cows were the only food that the people had and stuff. And so they let the cows out to roam around, just so hoping somebody will come outside and try to get the cows, which some people did, like Boyd, Jade, and Kenny's mom. And so the monsters just watched as they tried to get the cows and stuff in. And so, of course, they went and got some people. They grabbed Boyd and they grabbed Kenny's mom, and they forced Boyd to like watch them rip her apart from the back of her head and everything. This is that scene from the trailer, because the trailer in season three did the smartest thing ever. They did not reveal too much, and they kept you guessing. So this is who he kept telling, just look at my eyes, is everything's gonna be okay? And you see him hollering and screaming, and that's the body they drag away in the trailer and stuff. Kenny has no idea, because Kenny's out looking for food with Jim and stuff. And then when the ambulance come, they have one of their people lay out in the road, make the ambulance stop, and of course the two paramedics get torn apart. The cop on there is flipping out and everything, and it's like, bullets do not hurt these people. The only thing that hurts them is the boil, I think the fecal matter or whatever that was in something. I can't remember what it was in, but it was in somebody, and that was able to kill them. And so like, they're like evolving and changing. And then when Boyd tried to get like, Tabitha and Victor's dad and like, somebody else to the colony house, he can't find the keys to the ambulance, and the woman just hands him the keys, the monster lady, and she's all like, "Here you go," because they don't plan on killing him. They just plan on torturing him more. And he leaves Randall there to get ripped and torn apart. But they leave Randall tied to the ambulance with his throat ripped out and stuff, but he's still alive. They didn't kill him for some bizarre reason. So, and it's just really weird that they will leave him alive. Now, there's been some speculation that when it comes to Randall. So let me just hurry and get to these character profiles first, because, there's not really too much what a lot of these characters do this season. And Randall, like I said before, Boyd left him there to die, and he's pissed because of that, and he hates Boyd. So his throat's all ripped. They had to like sew him up, and he has to keep bandages on like, his face and stuff. He doesn't do much this season, but he said early on that he's always watching like the monster people at night because he lives in the bus and he can see everything. They torment the crap out of him, but he says that these creatures are creature of habit. They do pretty much the same stinking thing every night. They go to like the same houses, they hang around the lake, like they do weird interactions and they hanging around like, you know, like a lake area and stuff. That's kind of weird. But anyway, he is still traumatized with what happened to him last season when they went inside his head and he was chained to that wall. He's constantly hearing bugs buzzing all around him, but nobody else can hear or see the bugs. But he can hear and he can see the bugs, and they're always buzzing around his face. It freaks him out. And like, so after a while, after he's all scarred up now, he has a big scar on his cheek. And so, like, the person he interacts the most this season, because he doesn't do much, is Julie of all people, which I don't like because I'm not really sure the age range between those two. He's the least in his mid 20s, late 20s, or maybe I doubt early 30s, but late 20s. Her, I'm not sure. She should be around 17, 18, 19, something like that. And she's going for, and it seems like she likes him in kind of like the bad boy kind of way. They smoke pot together and they actually talk about their experiences of what happened, along with Mariella, because they don't talk about really what happened. Sometimes I think last season they kind of don't want to linger too much on that storyline because it was so out there, but they have to incorporate it on the show because it's there, and they're gonna incorporate it more in the season finale cliffhanger and stuff. So he's always hearing like, you know, buzzing and bugs in his ear, but she's always hearing screaming. As for Mariella, nobody knows because she won't talk about it. Anyway, so he's interacting with Julie a lot this season. He teaches her how to drive and everything. They go to like this altar type place, and he doesn't want to go there because he starts to freak out whenever they're there. And so the buzzing gets so bad in his ear, he's about to lobotomize himself with electroshock therapy, using the defibrillator from the ambulance to shock his brain and everything, because he just doesn't want to take it no more. But then Mariella is able to stop him, and he actually, for the first time, breaks down and starts crying and stuff. Because he's like the tough bad boy of the show who's always trying to fight and antagonize people. And he actually made his, you know, apologies to that of I think it's Eugene, I think his name is, and somebody else, I can't remember who. But the whole scar on his face thing, people are kind of saying that he actually might really be the man in the yellow jacket. And I'll get into that a little bit later when I get into the man in the yellow jacket. So Christy and Mariella, might as well just do these two both because they don't do nothing at all. So basically, they're still nurses, and Mariella no longer does drugs, and she won't talk about what happened to her when she was in that place. And so, like, Mariella takes over as full-time nurse and doctor type person attending to people, mostly because Christy is either helping looking for food or, like, you know, she gets her foot stuck in a bear trap. And so she's pretty much taken out for the rest of the season, or she's just on crutches, but she helps out a little bit, but that's about it. And that's really all these two people do, is just medical stuff, nothing really significant. They're still dating. That whole Kenny thing is awkward. We only see Christy hang out with Kenny like one time in the entire season, only because, you know, his mom died and she has to fix him up and, you know, stuff like that. And it's just like, there's not much these two do. I do wonder if it's because of the Christy actress, because she's a real nurse in real life, so that probably takes up a lot of her time. Now, Officer Danny Acosta, she was the cop on the ambulance along with Tabitha and Victor's dad. And the reason why she was there is because after Tabitha left the hospital all banged up and wouldn't tell nobody where she's been, they called the police looking for her and stuff. So when the body was on the road, revealed to be a monster and killed the paramedics, Officer Acosta did what anybody would do. She shot the monster people, but the bullets does not work on them. And like an idiot, she just kept shooting at them over and over. Now, her character is very despised on the show from both the characters and the audience. And it's because of the events that happen along with her. After she starts shooting the monster people to no prevail, she turns around the colony house and sees a person looking out the window. Assuming it's a monster, she shot that woman. And the woman later died. Now, she was a minor character, like a background character, so it doesn't really matter. It should have been a main character, but I get why they don't want to kill around too many main characters and stuff. But basically, the town hates her now because of that. She's freaking out. She has no idea what's going on, and everybody hates her guts. She tries to talk to Boyd and is all like, maybe what people need to take their mind off of what happened last night, her killing somebody and the monster people, is to do some type of arts and craft type of project, like build something. Build like a river or something like that, or a dam, or like something that could be beneficial to people. Boyd is not having this crap and doesn't want nothing to do with her, and he's pissed and takes her gun from stuff. And it's like, boy, his attitude towards her was very shocking. Like, what people don't understand, they have to put themselves in her mind frame. She doesn't know anything about this land or the monsters, and as soon as she encounters like an actual monster, she starts shooting to no prevail. So of course, when she saw another human looking person in the window, she assumed it was a monster and shot. Now, why would she keep shooting knowing it's not going to do nothing is beyond me. So I started to have sympathy for her until she started having major attitude in the show. And I get she's upset at Boyd because he pretty much shouted at her and all this other stuff, but him and her turn into like enemies very quickly. She's kind of like the new Donna in a way, because Donna always pissing people off and she's now pissing people off. But basically, she's trying to figure out things. She doesn't understand why there's like certain signs but no buildings. Like there's a hotel sign but there's no hotel. There's a diner and a diner sign and stuff like that. But like there's other little things. And she doesn't understand why people are just like accept this and give up. Like why people aren't trying hard enough, why people aren't asking questions. And she mostly talks to Kenny for the rest of the season because those are the only two. He's the only one who gets along with her. And so he tells her, we have asked those questions and we have tried to find out, but it doesn't help. So they just gave up and everything. But she turns more and more antagonistic. And so when she confronts Boyd and everything, because she wants to know about the talismans and all this, and she thinks Boyd, because she doesn't like the fact that he's a fake sheriff along with Kenny, who's a fake deputy, and Boyd is like the leader of like half of the group of people there. So she just can't stand him. Plus she wants her gun back. And she even goes in his office and looks for it, which he gets pissed and starts cussing her out because he just can't stand her and stuff. So he finally gives her the gun back, but he takes all the bullets. And so you kind of sympathize with this character, but then at the same time, you don't like her because they also made her into also the new Randall, where she just pisses people off and everything. But she starts to turn good again because she refuses to get out her cop uniform, and she stops somebody in town from torturing somebody and everything. And so she's just one of those characters you don't really know what to make about, because at first you want to like her, but then she's so crabby you don't want to. So Henry, Victor's dad, is now in the town his entire family was in. And Victor is a very nice, meager man. Like he's just very nice. And he gives some like pretty good advice to like Jim when Jim and Tabitha aren't getting along. However, Henry is a drunk, like an alcoholic and stuff. So I wonder how that's going to play into the next season. And so when Victor finds out his dad is in town, he doesn't want to see his dad. I'm just like, oh God, please say it's not going to be one of those storylines. Please say it's not because Henry touched Victor at a young age and that's why he didn't go on that trip with the rest of the family. But no, thankfully it is not. Victor just didn't want to see him because he feels like he's a failure because he's so cuckoo in the head, and that's not how his dad remembers him and stuff. His dad is trying to do the extreme best he can. Like, he believes in Victor's delusion, and he follows him into the tunnels to like grab a ventriloquist dummy, which one of the monster people tell Victor, if you keep coming down here, we're gonna keep you down here. For some reason, they won't kill Victor either and stuff. And so, like, Henry's just trying to do the best he can to make, the figure out what's really going on in this town. Like, he wonders why there's no hotel, but if there's a hotel sign. But he's mostly there just to give, like, loving advice to people. Like, he gives it to Jim, he gives it to his son. He loves his son, no matter how cuckoo he is in the head. And so, but he also gives out a lot of good information about Miranda, his wife, which helps Julie out, which helps Jade out. Now, him and Jade really don't like each other because Jade is just a prick and everything. But, like, he's an all around nice guy. Kenny, poor Kenny, that dude has, like, been going through it, man. Lost his dad in the first season. Now he lost his mom and couldn't be there to see what happened to her. And Boyd is always keeping secrets from him. I mean, always keeping secrets from this man. Cause like, so his mom died, and what sucks about it is that when him and Jim went out into the woods to find food, they was in like a little cabin or a shed. And then the next morning, bam, they found food. They found cabbage and stuff like that. And that's enough to feed everybody for years and stuff. So it's like his mom lost her life for nothing trying to save a cow when his son came back with food the very next day. So he's really upset, he's pissed, and then the music starts playing at the jukebox where he shatters and breaks that. And then he shuts down the diner and moves out. He's just kind of beside himself. He's still helping out. He gets over his mom's death very quickly, and he's hanging out with Officer Acosta. You know those two are gonna hook up at some point. Because him and Christy still aren't together, but he has reconciled with her and the whole Mariella thing. And so he's kind of just there helping and everything. And he doesn't really have too much of like a storyline whatsoever. He's just there. Like he's there in the woods hoping to get more food when Christy got her foot stuck in the bear trap. And he blames Jade because Jade was kind of just like hallucinating and everything. And which caused her to run after him, and then bam. Bacta, I think that's how you say her name. They don't even say her name on the show. But she's the bus driver from season 2, and now she works at the diner. And that's literally it. Like, she really doesn't do nothing. She kind of gives words of encouragement. This is a character they're letting down big time because they don't know what to do with her whatsoever. Victor is the same he's always been. He's crazy. But he's remembering stuff from the past, but it's hard because it's been 40 years ago, and all that stuff that happened is when he was a kid. And I think there was even one point in time where he was literally there by himself for years until more people started showing up. But anyways, like, he's happy to finally see his father and everything, but he mostly hangs out with Sarah this season, which is really interesting because those two never interact. And so he wants her to go on this like adventure thing with him, a journey to find like, hitting meaning to this place, because he's always trying to put the clues together, but it's so hard because everything's so scrambled in his brain. And one of the things he needs is a ventriloquist dummy that Christopher was talking to. I think the dummy's name is Jacob or something like that. No, Jasper. That's it, Jasper. Because he remembers Christopher was talking to Jasper and stuff. But it actually wasn't him. It was one of the ghost children or the boy in white or something like that. And there are times where he just kind of loses it and everything, and then there are other times where he's kind of sane in the head. But it's like he's a very troubled person because he's been there the longest, ever since he was a little child. I think back in like the 80s and stuff. And so, like, he blames himself for his mother, Miranda, dying because she went after Christopher and got torn up by, like, the dead people or the demon people and stuff. But, like, he does help eventually Jade figure things out about, like, numbers in the bottle and, like, the music and, like, stuff like that. But it's hard because, like I said before, his brain is just so, like, scrambled. And we do get to see the boy in white. He helped Tabitha when she was in the real world. Like, he led her someplace. And then, like, he talks to Victor. And we finally get to hear him speak. And his voice sounds older because the actor who's playing him is growing up. He's no longer a little kid. He's becoming a teenager and stuff. And it's funny because they kind of mention this in the show. Victor's all like, "You've changed." He's like, "Well, so have you." He's all like, "But you look different." And they're like, "Well, so do you." And it's because the actor is getting older and stuff. There's no explanation as to why he's growing, but of course it's because in real life the actor's turning into a teenager. Donna is a very mysterious woman only because we don't know much about her other than what is shown. She's the leader of the colony house. She has an attitude and she can be a little bit selfish at times, but she's a woman with a good heart. But she does have like a huge temper. Her and Boy don't never get along that well, and they went back to season 1 to where they really don't get along very well. She blames him for a lot of stuff, like getting a lot of people killed, because she hates seeing a lot of folks killed because they come to him because he's a leader, but even he is starting to kind of lose it and everything. And so, like, we don't know much about her backstory, but it's small details are starting to come out. Like, okay, there's this one guy who's really prickly who hangs around Jade doing, like, searching for food and answers and stuff. I forget what this dude's name is. He's the dude like on the left, but he's very rude and nasty and all this other crap. When Tabitha comes back and everything, and how about she went through the tree, he's all like, "All right, then, everybody should just go through the tree and we'll make it too." But then Boy doesn't want people to do that because he doesn't know what will happen to them, because every time you go in a tree, you don't always end up where you want to go. But the guy won't listen and he's going to do it anyway, along with some other folks. You can already tell what's going to happen. So he goes through a tree. He does not end up in the real world. And I'm all like, I bet he's going to end up dead or decomposed or something. He was stuck in a wall, a brick wall and everything. And Boy was going to shoot to kill him because there was no way to get him out, but he later died. He's literally fused inside the wall. Donna took this very, very hard for some reason and decided to cover up the brick wall with more rocks and everything. And I'm curious to know why. She seemed to take his death very hard, even though she said he was a pain in her butt side or backside. And I was all like, did they have a relationship? Because it was never shown. But then at one point, we see her in her room, and it's a picture of her and a woman. And the woman is never explained. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, maybe that's her girlfriend or something. Maybe she's a lesbian or something. And they just haven't revealed it yet. Or maybe it's a daughter, but she hasn't revealed that either. Most likely it's a girlfriend or something. Because she does kind of dress slightly butch and everything. And so, like, her and Boy can't get along this well this season. When somebody kills Penny and everything, like, she helps to kind of like, oh, at first she's gonna expose who did it, but then decide not to because she likes that person. And so just like with Boy, she's a little compromised in the way she won't always tell the truth. Remember, she hid that food from people last season because she knew once everybody found out all the food is gone, they're gonna try to get the rest of the food and try to eat it, which yes, they did do. When Kenny's mom had the food and everything to store it. And so she tries to keep the peace, but it's so hard and everything because a lot of the people who she lives with become antagonistic and stuff. So Penny is probably the oldest person there. She showed up in season 2 on the bus, and she just always there to give moral support to other characters, Eugene, Fatima, stuff like that. And so like she meets her demise when she gets stabbed. And she gets stabbed by somebody who I'll reveal a little bit later. It's going to be kind of hard to talk about these next couple of characters because their stories are all intertwined with one another. So I'll try my best not to spoil too much until it's actually revealed. But it's so hard because they're all intertwined with each other. And she reveals she has cancer, and it's just like, dude, she just ended up dying of getting stabbed and everything. And she was such a nice, sweet lady and stuff. So Eugene was the dude on the bus who had the premonitions about the town and stuff like that. He didn't do too much in the last season, but he interacted a bit more with Julie this season, where they found this like cellar on like all these old timely clothes and an old Polaroid type camera, which he uses to play around with her. So I thought there was gonna be like a love interest between those two, but it's not. And so he can't go to sleep because if he sleeps, he sees the dead people, especially this woman in a kimono. And so because of that, he just stays awake all the time. And it's causing problems with him because he's not supposed to stay awake all the time. But now he's starting to see the woman when he's awake. With the Polaroid, it takes pictures on its own somehow. And because of that, it sends him messages, like things they want him to do. And at first, I thought to myself, oh, wow, they're gonna like actually give this person something really meaningful to do. He's probably gonna figure something like cool out and everything. But no, they have him get like put his blood in like a jar and find like this cellar and all this other stuff. And he kidnaps Fatima and everything because she's pregnant or something like that. And so like the lady in the kimono is making him do this stuff, and I'm like, nah, dude, don't turn bad. Because he's basically doing what Sarah did in season 1. The monster people are talking to him in his head, or the kimono lady is, and now he's starting to do bad stuff because he said, hey, look, if you have this baby and everything, they'll let us go free. So that's basically the same thing like with Sarah. So when everybody's looking for her, Elias can kind of figure out that Eugene knows something and won't tell. As a result, and I can spoil these people's names, they really don't matter. So he's at his limit and he wants his daughter-in-law back. So he's gonna torture Eugene and everything. He ties him up in a chair. And the lady in the kimono sent Boyd a message, a picture of the house him and his wife was supposed to live in before they came there. So Boyd is like, F this, and smashes his hand with a hammer. This is when Officer Acosta stopped Boyd and everything because everybody else in the little waiting area would not do nothing and stuff like that until somebody comes in and tells me, no, Boyd's too nice and everything. And he doesn't, he'll feel terrible about torturing you. I don't. And everything. And this person gets the information out of him by jabbing the screwdriver through his eye and everything. So it sucks that his character went down that path, but just like this other character and like Sarah the first season, he thought he was doing the best thing. And who stabbed him in the eye? Well, it's none other than Sarah herself. So Sarah this season has been very joyful, very nice, so cutesy wootsy and everything. Like she's always like saying hi to everybody, but nobody wants to say hi back. She helps out Victor and everything, his disillusion. And pretty much like the monster people are talking to her in her head again. They haven't done that since season 1. And she tells Boyd that, Fatima isn't missing. She was taken, and some bad stuff is gonna happen and this and that. Somebody's trying to like warn her to warn them. So when Boyd starts to torture what's his name, but then stop because of Officer Acosta, she realizes, hey, she might as well take the fall for this because everybody hates her anyway, and she's killed before in the past. So it's kind of like that's just one more thing on her conscience she can deal with. So off screen, she tortures the crap out of him by jabbing that screwdriver through his eye. It worked, and he finally gave up the location of Fatima and everything. But just like the person warned her, it's too late. Also, let me just say that Kimono Lady looks different from season 2. In season 2, she was all CGI. In season 3, she's an actual woman wearing prosthetics. I can give that a pass. However, she's wearing a completely different kimono. I get it, the one in season 3 is a little bloodstained, but you can tell there's more yellow in season's 2 kimono. It's the little details like that that irks me. So Elias' role this season just to be the supportive husband to that of Fatima. Fatima is acting very strangely because she thinks she's pregnant and stuff like that. He reconciles with his father and finds out about his father's Parkinson's and stuff. This does turn him to be an angry character with the whole Fatima stuff because he can't help her, but he wants to help her, and he tends to lash out at people a bit more, but he's really there just to be supportive. I wish he had a bigger role. I wish a lot of these characters had a bigger role because most of them are just there for moral support and everything. Fatima, however, like I said before, is pregnant, but the problem is she can't keep down regular food. And we start to see her eat decomposed food that's been rotted and everything, because a lot of their food supply rotted and everything. This was supposed to test them on their food shortage. And so we see her just constantly eating decomposed food, and the only person who sees her at first is that of Penny. And so Penny tries to give her words of encouragement, this and that. When the officers shot that lady, I knew what was going to happen. She drank that lady's blood. It's like, what the heck is going on with her? What is inside her that's causing this? Because she's not showing. But whatever is inside of her, she's acting very temperamental and everything. So when Christy and Mariella scan her body with an ultrasound, they can't find no baby, but she's adamant that she is pregnant, but everybody keeps telling her, hey, look, you're just delusional and everything, which pisses her off even more. And so when she's talking to Penny, she's acting temperamental again. She's constantly fussing out Elias and she's fussing out Penny. And in a bit of rage, she stabs Penny in the chest with some tools, like gardening tools, and kills Penny. Elias finds out, and then later Boyd finds out. Elias and Fatima want to tell everybody what she did, but Boyd will not. He's keeping secrets again. This causes problems with Donna. And Donna's like she's going to expose Fatima only till she doesn't, because she really loves her deep down inside, because everybody loves Fatima. Fatima's one of those characters that accepts people for who they are. She's very hippie-like and everything. So it's really sad to see her come down this path and everything. And so, they hide her, and Kenny has no idea and everything. Boyd just keeps everything from Kenny. But anyway, they kept her in that shed until Elias found her and kidnapped her. So she's trying to fight her way out through him and everything, but nothing's working. And he's telling her that the lady in the kimono, that's the baby that's inside Fatima. Yes, there really is a demonic baby inside of her and stuff. And so, the monster people are unable to have children of their own, so I guess they just implant them in other people and stuff. But this is the first time this ever happened, and there's a reason why. So as her stomach's getting bigger, she's going to try to commit C-section and kill the baby, but the lady in kimono prevents that. And there's a trap door in the cellar she's in, but she can't pull it open. As the baby's coming out, it turns out to be a gallbladder baby, and the door mysteriously opens. As the kimono lady goes down in the trap door basement area with the gallbladder baby, everybody rescues Fatima and everything. Now the lady in kimono, Boyd decides to follow her. The baby grows very quickly into a man, and we see some of the monster people down there as Boyd is like spying on them. The monster baby is none other than Smiley. Smiley is the monster dude that Boyd killed in season 2. I was not expecting this. And this is why nobody's been pregnant in the town that's real, because the monster people have never had to procreate because none of their own have ever died. And so now this is a big twist where it's kind of like the monster people will never die. If they do die, they will just be reborn again in somebody else's belly, making them like basically immortal. And I have mixed feelings about this, because it's like, holy crap, how are they ever going to win against these people? But then it's like, this is where I'm saying their imagination is being stretched out to its limit. Because if this payoff isn't good enough, then it's gonna suck. But now we know no matter what they do, they can't get rid of these people. And they said before Boyd found the talisman, it was terrible. The monster people will come in your house, they'll take somebody, and then they'll be dead. There used to be way more of them, but now there isn't and stuff. And it's just one of those freaky things that makes you go, wow, you know what I'm saying? So Boyd is doing what he does best, trying to keep the peace and trying to keep people alive and trying to find out a solution to this place and, stuff like that. The man is doing his extreme best, and the actor is doing just a good job. And he's kind of like the Rick Grimes of the show. He's trying to do his best, but he keeps screwing up. And Boyd is really screwing up a lot this season. The monsters are really testing him, because they said they are going to break him and everything. But he refuses to be broken. But they're testing him so hard that they are literally breaking this man to doing things that he's done in the past, but some things he's never done before. And it takes him down a path that I really do not like, because I'm losing respect for this dude, you know what I'm saying? That's some of the stuff that he's doing, because he knows this is just going to cause problems and stuff. The worms are out of his body since season 2, but he's starting to hallucinate and see that of the pastor man from season 1 that died. He's constantly talking to this dude, and it's almost like a way it really is the pastor guy. And it makes you wonder, is it or is it not? It's a little confusing and stuff. And so, first they tested him with Kenny's mother. Then, of course, he had to tell Kenny, and Kenny and him aren't always getting along, but sometimes they do. And so he's done going in the woods and trying to find a way out of it, because it took him to like this snowy land in season 1. And in season 2, he went down into like this like cave with this one man who was chained to the wall, and he got like worms in his body and, crap like that. We now find out the mysterious person who dropped the rope on his head when in season 2. I'll get into that person a little bit later. But the people are testing him in a way, like I said before, I'm having a hard time respecting this man. Like Officer Acosta, like he's just being so rude and nasty to her. When remember, he shot and killed his wife and everything, because his wife was possessed. Officer Acosta had no idea that lady in the window was a real human and stuff. And so like it goes from that to like the whole Fatima thing with the whole, the whole Randall thing. He literally left Randall there to die. He could have saved him, but he wanted to get Tabitha back and away from the monster people, because Tabitha just came back from the real world and she has information. along with also the people she brought with him. So he literally just left Randall there to die, which now him and Randall are enemies as a result. And Randall got like, ripped apart in the neck and cheek area and stuff. Then there is the whole Fatima thing. When he knew she killed Penny, he covered it up. And he covered it up where people in town assumed it was Sarah. So they were going to start going after Sarah. And he literally would not tell the truth and everything. He kept it from Kenny. And it's just kind of like, what are you doing, man? It's like you're making the same mistakes you did like in the past, and you're making even bigger ones. And because he wants Fatima back, he's willing to torture that of Eugene. And Eugene is such a nice person, but is being manipulated by those people. And he can't forgive Eugene, but he could forgive Sarah for killing Sarah's brother, trying to kill little Ethan, and also killing Kenny's dad and stuff. And no, I don't think she killed Kenny's dad. I think a monster killed him. But no, wait. I think it no. Oh, no, wait. I think she took the talisman away. And that's how the monster people got him, I think. Something like that happened. It's been since season 1. I haven't watched season 1 in forever. And so, like, how can you forgive Sarah, but you can't forgive Eugene, and you're willing to torture Eugene and stuff? And it's just one of those things that, like, his character is doing. And the people in town are losing trust in him because he's constantly lying and not telling them, like, everything they need to know. And so, like, even the town people won't listen to him when he tried to tell them, hey, do not go in a tree because you don't know what's going to happen. And we saw what happened to that one guy. And not only that, but the only reason why people in town, they haven't forgiven Sarah. They just leave her alone because Boyd wants them to. And it's causing problems between him and like Donna. And so the man is literally like up against a rock and a hard place because everybody's against this man, and now the monster people are testing him and everything, and he has Parkinson, and he's seeing hallucinations of the pastor dude. So Julie this season is very distant from her family. She will not hang out with her father, and she doesn't want to be around him. And it's like, what happened to her when her mind went crazy in the head? We know Randall heard bugs. We don't know about Mariella. And as for her, we now find out when she tells her little brother, and I think she might have told Randall. She heard little kids screaming and stuff. And she hears them every day of every second of every minute. But when she went to that weird altar place, the voices stopped screaming in her head. She wants to go there more, but Randall won't let her. So she goes there with Ethan. And Ethan tells her, just face your fear and go to it. So she did. And she got transported in her mind to like that cellar where the old man is chained to the wall that gave Boyd the worms in his body. She is the one, when trying to get the rope, threw it down like a hole or a well or something, and it hit Boyd in the head. I'm like, well, hold up now. Now it's getting more freaky deaky, and I think y'all are stretching that limit. That happened in season 2 a couple of months ago. But she did it just now. So does she have the ability to alter time or something like that, or jump back in time? Like, what the heck is going on? And so she's spazzing and freaking out and everything, and like, they get her to safety, and she tells her little brother what happened, and he tells her, oh, you're a storyteller, that's what, or a story walker or something like that. That's what Victor calls them. They have the ability to see the stories of other people's lives in the past. So she thinks in her head that what if I go back there, I can change time. I can prevent our little brother from dying. I can prevent us from coming here. I can do this and do that. And Ethan tells her, by the way, Ethan's just there for moral support. He doesn't really do much. So there's really no point going in his character. But he tells her, Victor said, what's already been set in stone is set and you can't reset it. But here's the freaky thing, right? She ain't gonna listen to nobody. She never does. And so something really freaky happens at the cliffhanger. Jim is like in the woods and everything, and all of a sudden, Julie shows up, but with a different hairstyle and different clothes. Future Julie tells him, something like, I can't really remember. She's trying to warn him of something. And then a person shows up and prevents her from telling him something. And it's just like, holy crap, she actually went through time and everything. And so this future version, for whatever reason, has like, I think scuff marks on her face and almost jet black hair and is shorter and everything. And she's wearing different clothes. So this is gonna hopefully pay off in the fourth season because it's kind of like, holy crap, this is like a big freaky thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a major, huge cliffhanger. Like, she literally traveled through time. Will she be able to alter it? Who knows? But I bet you it's gonna get wrapped up in 3 episodes like every other cliffhanger does. So Jim, he's just being an overprotective husband and father this season. He doesn't do much. He's too scared to really do anything because that voice in the satellite radio thing told him stop messing around and everything or you're going to pay the consequences, which he did when his wife fell down the hole and the building collapsed on him. Ever since then, he's been overly protective of his family. He's scared, doesn't know where his wife is. He wants to go looking for her. That's when him and Kenny found like the food. He can't stand Jade and everything. And when his wife came back, he smothers her and tries to protect her, but this leads to more arguments with them. They're always fighting over their dead son, and it's a big argument to where he points his finger at her, shouting, and she smacks his finger and everything. I like that feistiness and stuff. And so basically, he's asking Randall, hey, why were you and my daughter hanging out alone? He doesn't like Jade that much. He takes the advice of Henry and stuff, but he's just overly protective this season. However, when he meets future Julie and everything, a mysterious man shows up out of nowhere. This man is the man who spoke to him, I'm guessing, on the radio a long time ago. Oh, also, he's being tortured by this one of the demon people, pretending to be his dead son. This mysterious man is the man in yellow. He's from the drawing of Victor's drawing and everything. And this is the first time he's ever shown up. And he's the one who told Jim, stop messing around before. So this is that mysterious voice, and he has a somewhat demonic looking face to him with black eyes, this and that. He warned Jim to stop looking for answers, and Jim's wife and Jay's been looking for more answers, and he said it's a price to come with knowledge. So he rips out Jim's throat, and future Julie sees this and everything. So Jim is now dead. I always assumed that Jim would be like a major player in the show, but he kind of isn't anymore. Now, as for the man in the yellow jacket, people are assuming this could be that of Randall, because they both have scars on their faces. Certain features in their faces line up with one another, and they have the same button-up shirt. It's a bit of a stretch, but with this show and who I'm about to get into next, hey man, you never know. So, also something I wanted to point out, man in the yellow jacket is walking around during the daytime, which these monsters don't come out during the day. So something about him is very, very, very special and stuff. And so, I forgot how Smiley died. I know they had a bullet with bile on it and stuff, but I forget. I think somebody also got stabbed or something like that. I forget. Somebody died one way. It was one of those monster people. I think Smiley did die in season 2. That's why, of course, he got resurrected. Jade is his typical prickly little self. He's rude. He's arrogant. and he thinks he's better than everybody else. He's also trying to figure out what's going on. He's not attending, like, group meetings and stuff, and he desperately just wants out of this place. His hair is about as bushy as they come now, and he's losing his mind. He's always seeing dead people, but no ordinary dead people, not the monster people, actual dead people who used to live there in town. The Civil War soldier, and like somebody else, but mostly some dude with something that's sticking out of his eye. When he finds out Tabitha is back, he needs her for information. And mostly anytime anybody gives him information, like whether it be Victor, Henry, Jim, or like Tabitha, he'll take it, but he'll mostly just take it from Tabitha. And Tabitha's really the only one he gets along with this season, because everybody else he's just pissing off because that's just what he does. So he's trying to figure out the whole numbers in the bottle and everything, and trying to see how this ties into this place. They're not years. It turns out it has to do with like music and stuff. And so like he gets Victor's violin, which Victor like took from him and everything, but he stole from him again, and he started playing music. This is when the little dead girls and the rest of the dead kids started showing up. And they give him like a message, and he remembers something that is so freaky, it's a bit of a stretch of the imagination. So now let's get into our final person, Tabitha. I really like Tabitha. I like how engaged she is. I'm so glad she's just not a typical housewife. That's kind of what she was in season 1, dealing with the grief and loss of her son. I think Tommy was his name or something like that. Her and her husband weren't getting along. They took this vacation to kind of like fix their marriage, kind of. They have this like teenager-ish type daughter who's like antagonistic and doesn't want nothing to do with them and stuff. And so she was very much a housewife in season 1, and then she went digging that hole in season 1, and ever since then they've been like, evolving her character where she's more engaged and trying to figure out how this place came to be, how to get out of it. She escaped in season 2 and went into the real world in season 3. And I'm so pissed they didn't do more with that. But honestly, how could they? Because they would have thought she's crazy. The town people are pissed because she didn't ask nobody questions in the real world or tell them anything. And so because of that, she feels it's more of her duty to try to find a way out of it. This is causing problems between her and Jim because he doesn't want to lose her, and she's not going to stop until she finds a place to get a way to get everybody out. It's to the point where they argue so bad that even Julie overheard it and stuff. But she spends most of her time with Henry, a little bit with Victor, but mostly Jade this season. And then something freaky happens. When she touches Victor, she can see his mom's death and everything. And it's like, okay, well, Victor was there, the mom was there. The mom got ripped to shreds by them people and stuff. But, it's just like, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But then it gets more freakier than that. See, when the little ghost girl started to talk to her and everything, wait, before that. So when Tabitha was a little girl, she had I guess a vision or a dream about like this make-believe area that keeps people trapped there, right? And so she feels like somehow her and Jade realized that maybe she was always destined to come to this place if she was seeing visions of it. Because Miranda, Victor's mom and Henry's wife, she saw visions of this place before she showed up there. So somehow they both have some type of insight, right? No, it gets freakier than that. So when the little ghost girl and the rest of the ghost people are summoned and everything, because the little ghost girl helped her find out where Fatima was. No. I'm getting confused again. Sorry. It's a different seller, and they found Victor and stuff like that. And so the little ghost girl led her to Victor she touched the arm, and then she got the Miranda visions. There's 2 different sellers. I'm getting a little confused. But anyway. the little ghost girl and the ghost people are talking to her again, and then off screen, or at least in her head or whatever, there's a huge revelation. And the revelation, and this is what I'm saying, man, is too much of a stretch of the imagination, and it's better have a big payoff because it's to the point where it's bizarre and so confusing. And this show is already confusing as it is. So why make it more? It's just getting more confusing. But the other confusion I can take, but this confusion I can't. It's too bizarre. And what is that? Tabitha is not seeing the visions of Miranda, and I think what's his name? Jade is not seeing the visions of Christopher. They are them. Some kind of weird, bizarre reincarnation. And both Jade and Tabitha realize they were some of the first, I guess, people to be in that like land. And so they had kids and this and that. And but their appearance will like change over time, I'm guessing, or not. I don't know. It's confusing, but somehow there was an original like Tabitha and an original like Jade, and then they kept getting reincarnated into like other people, Christopher and that of Miranda, and that's why her and Miranda both used to make those bracelets and all this other crap, and it's weird. It's weird. It's very weird. And Jim is just kind of shocked and can't believe this and just leaves and everything. And that's when he met the man in yellow. And the man in yellow said, plain and simple, too much knowledge will cost you and everything. And it cost Jim his life. The whole reincarnation thing is really weird and bizarre. But the little ghost girl tells them it all started with the kids and the children. This is something they've known since season 2. They've been told it all started with the children. But what the heck did that mean? And it's now revealed that the monster people were indeed actual people and stuff back in the day. That's why they're dressed like people from the 1950s and 40s and stuff. And they have to sacrifice their children in order to stay immortal. That is why, like, all the children are ghosts and everything, and the parents are just monster people. So I'm assuming the man in the yellow gave them immortality for sacrificing their kids and turned them demonic looking like him. That's my theory and everything. And of course, now, as we know, the monster people can't have kids of their own, so they have to put their baby inside somebody else in case one of them end up dying and stuff, which is how Smiley came back. So this season, is stretching that imagination. It really is. I just don't know how long they can keep stretching it. The whole reincarnation thing, I just don't want to buy. And I hope they wrap that up very quickly in season 3. And like I said before, if the payoff ain't good, then this whole show is going to be pointless. Because no matter how good this show is, and trust me when I say it's very good, like more people should be talking about this show. It does suck it's on MGM Plus because most people don't subscribe to that. And so because it's an old people like type of like, app and everything. But this is a very engaging, very intriguing, very mysterious show. But that payoff at the end, whenever the show ends, it better pay off significantly, because if it doesn't, then that's all people gonna remember. No matter how great this show is, people are always gonna say, well, the ending sucks. And that's all. Like what's that show called? How I Met Your Mother. I'd never really been into that show. I only saw like 1 or 2 episodes, and I saw the finale. And all I ever hear people say is, the ending sucks. The ending sucks. And that's all they talk about, is the ending sucking. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.